What I got out of this series so far is a couple years back during the bubble, the Hurricanes, who had just come off a very tough playoff run, right? They got to the conference finals. They were tough. They had a chip on their shoulder. Whereas the Rangers were this young, inexperienced, up-and-coming team in 2020. They were hot. They had Shesterkin. And they got to the playoffs and they were feeling confident. Hey, we could take Carolina. We're a faster team. We're a younger team. They're not as good as us. We have a little more youth. And it didn't work. The Rangers got the doors blown off of them in that series. And I think that's what's happening with the Devils right now. Now, look, if the Devils don't resign Timo Meier, I feel like the rebuild process takes a massive hit.
The objective here is trying to get a win against the Rangers
in
Madison Square Garden. Because if you're thinking about Timo Meier next year, well, then you're giving up on this season. You're giving up on this playoff run.
Well, I understand that, but at the same time, look at what happened at home in these two games. If you're the Devils, how are you able to block power play 1 for the Rangers? You have Kreider up front. You have Fox at the top. You have Kane, Zibanejad, and Panarin at the points. Who are you guarding? How are you able to play that defensively, especially when they get comfortable in the offensive zone? You have 5 perennial all-stars on 1 power play. And then you're also seeing what the Devils were doing at the end of the game. They were upset.
That's the way they have to play against that power play, is they have to be rugged. They have to hit. They have to cause problems. They have to make the Rangers believe that they can't set up shop the way they have in this series. If they could do that and throw the Rangers off their positions, then the Devils could absolutely knock off this power play. The Rangers, they're playing fast. They're hitting. Trouba, he's hitting hard. Tarasenko, this is why they went after Tarasenko at the trade deadline, because of what he could do on the ice. When he's 100% healthy, he can hit, he can penalty kill, he can go on the power play, and he can put the puck in the net. And Patrick Kane, he's a facilitator. He can set anybody up, and he can put the puck in the net. The Rangers, they have upgraded at the positions that they needed to. Now the question is, going against a young team like this, and the Devils have to be smart too. They're going into Madison Square Garden. They're going into a very loud arena, an arena that's going to be chanting Rangers this and Rangers that. They were chanting Rangers this and Rangers that in the Prudential Center. What could the Devils do to get back into the series? They need good goaltending, and Vanecek has not played very well in this series. And that has a lot to do with the Rangers and what they have done on the power play and what the Rangers could do offensively with their first 2 lines. They have to use their size, especially Timo Meier. Timo Meier is one of the best power forwards in the league, using his body, his checking. He has not done enough of that in this series, and it's been a huge problem for the Devils because they're getting beaten up, especially in the second period. Both second periods, they have been dominated by the New York Rangers. And if they continuously keep getting dominated in the second period, going into the third period, they're not going to have any confidence, and the Rangers are going to take over the game.
Into the first period, too, the Rangers have dominated in all those games. The Devils also with the power play, getting a lot of opportunities, not executed them. Defensively, they got to be a little better. They're playing very passive. We've seen that in the past with teams like the Wild and teams like the Flames. Talented defenses on paper that don't play hard enough in the playoffs. You need some level of physicality. They have some size on their team. It's not like they're a super small team.
You do see what the Rangers are doing defensively against the Devils.
They're swarming.
They're taking out Jack Hughes. They're making sure that Jack Hughes can't set up and do the things that he is strong at. He's small, and they're beating him up. They're pushing him around. What the Devils need to do is they need to get Dougie Hamilton involved. He has to protect his younger players, like a Jack Hughes. Jack Hughes has been thrown around by the Rangers. Game number 2, Tarasenko almost threw him over the boards. And when you're getting hit by Tarasenko, he's not Jacob Trouba. He's not that type of player. And he's body checking you and throwing you all over the place. Then you have a problem. How many points does Jack Hughes have in this series? He has a goal. And look at the guys the Rangers depend on in this series. Kreider has 4 goals. Tarasenko's played 2 games. He's got 2 goals. Patrick Kane, who I think is going to take over throughout the playoffs. And when he figures it out, and he figures out how the game slows down in front of him, we've seen him do it in Chicago. He is one of the most dominant players in the playoffs.
Well, he did it in game 2. He had a goal and 3 assists in that game alone, including one of the nicest plays I think I've ever seen a person make. He pickpocketed Jesper Bratt. Then he brought the puck up to the offensive zone, created his own 2-on-1 with Kreider, didn't pass it, shot a backhander over the shoulder of Vita Vanecek. I was just like, he just created that whole play himself. Patrick Kane said it after game 1. His words to the media were, I have to give more than what I've been given to this fan base because I know I have a lot more left to give. Tarasenko, what do those two guys have in common? They both have won what?
Stanley Cups.
Both have done it, and they were both massive contributors in winning those Stanley Cups. That's why those two guys were brought in. They were brought in to be the veteran presence that this team was missing last season to get them over the hump against a team like Tampa, where they were up 2-0, made some mistakes, and it screwed everything up, and it was overwhelming to the young kids.